Watch this if you're lonely and confused. Another lonely night without friends. Another empty night void of joy and meaningful relationships. Another night of mindlessly scrolling on your phone, wishing for more. This is the sad reality for most people coming home from work and school. You wonder, how did I miss out on so much? It just seemed life just went on by, and here I am, utterly alone. The friends who supported you when you were younger are no longer there. Everyone seemed to move away and just moved on with their life. How did it get so bad? I'm here to tell you today that it doesn't have to be this way. Life can be different, and it should be. Allow me to guide you in building meaningful relationships for a life worth living. This is always my goal with every video I produce. The feelings you're experiencing are actually quite normal. You're not an outlier. Loneliness actually impacts more people than you believe. I'm going to read this out to you. A poll done by the American Psychiatric Association found that in early 2024, 30% of adults have experienced feelings of loneliness once a week over the past year. Younger people around the age 18 to 34 experience loneliness more so than other groups. Single adults are twice as likely as married couples to experience loneliness, 39% versus 22%. And to back this up further, a study done by Harvard in 2021 to 2023 with 950 Americans ages 18 to 25 showed that participants experience profound loneliness at around 61%. So Gen Z is being impacted more so than other generations before. And since younger generations tend to be more single, they experience it significantly worse. In another study done by Date Psychology, they found that 45% of men aged 18 to 25 have never approached a woman in person for a date. So this impacts young single men more so than women. And since young men don't approach, they lack meaningful relationships. So over half of young men are not finding success in building meaningful relationships. While most people would blame young men as being the problem, we need to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. It's not as simple as telling young men to man up, approach, and get over it. I truly believe that society failed young men in so many ways with the recent messaging of what it means to be a man. You can't have it both ways, where you tell men that their masculinity is toxic and tell them to man up when it's convenient. And while I'm emphasizing more on young men here, it doesn't exclusively belong to them. The messaging overall towards women has also added to this confusion. This idea that has been recently promoted, such as women run the world. Don't let a man tell you what to do. To always split the bill with the man. To compete with men and show them who's boss. That women need to become more masculine and less feminine. A feminine woman is weaker than a man. Women who are considered feminine are considered weak, not strong or powerful. Why is there even a competition to begin with? The opposite sex isn't the problem. We need both sides in order to succeed and build meaningful relationships. It requires both genders to dance and make this work. The nuclear family is legitimately disappearing, and women are complaining that men aren't masculine enough to date them, and they can't find a suitable partner. So it's impacting both men and women. Young men nowadays are less educated when it comes to college compared to women, and they're earning less money for the first time in history. This is for Gen Z. So I don't think women are minorities anymore in terms of college education and pay. They're way more educated than men as men drop out of high school and drop out of college. I think 60% of the incoming freshman class are considered women compared to only 40%. And those who finish college, men have a higher percentage of dropping out than completing the education than women. So this is also impacting women. When you target men, women in society are also suffering the consequences. Both parties will remain alone and experience loneliness more so than ever before. And it makes sense why a lot of young men have opted out of dating and participating in society. There is simply no place for us. Men are looking for stability, security, and a role for them in society. I read in a New York Times article that young men are turning to religion now more so than ever. 40% of young men regularly attend church services compared to 28% of women. Historically, it's always been the opposite because young men tended to do their own thing, check out, and not be affiliated with churches. But there's been a major shift in young men valuing traditional roles and values and finding meaning within the church. The church has served as a legitimate safe space for young men to express their masculinity and bond with their fellow brothers. We're looking for leadership, we're looking for clarity, we're looking for meaning. Things that cannot be found in society anymore. Things are so politically correct right now that there's a suppression on free speech. And not everyone is a racist bigot either, abusing the system. Men want raw speech and emotion, and that sometimes periodically offends other people. Because some harsh truths require pain to understand. It's raw, it's simple, it's raw masculine emotion. According to the New York Times, young men are attracted to the harder truths. They want to hear messages with a little wrath of God in them. Young men have been ignored so much that instead of waiting for help, we went forward and created our own path for us. With the growing men going their own way movement and the red pill movement, men are choosing to fight back because the default setting of being alone and useless no longer serves us. While I personally have some issues with the overall messaging, I do agree with the sentiment. We are paving our own path forward, and that's what I'm doing today, to help build meaningful relationships for a life worth living. And before I get a lot of hate for being a traditionalist, a lot of young men do not care if women work. For myself, my wife is a full-time doctor and she's in the military. She works extremely hard and I'm so proud of her, and I'm so secure in my own masculinity. I don't feel threatened by her own success. It's our success. We're married and we are a team at the end of the day. And she's so secure in her own femininity that she doesn't feel the need to compete with me or men. She knows what she's doing. She loves her job and so passionate about it that she's going to do well. She's not trying to prove that she's better than men. She's just so passionate about what she does, and I'm so supportive of her. Not everything has to be in the extremes, and I hate how political everything has become. And it's no wonder why young men are opting out of dating and choosing not to participate in the toxic dating culture created. But at the same time, you can't just hang out with the boys/guys forever and wait for inevitable collapse of society. I think this goes a little too far off the edge, but I do understand what you're feeling, and it's very valid. Why would you choose to participate? It's completely okay to not participate with toxic men or women. You know what you want, and good people are legitimately very hard to find, but they do exist. So with everything I presented, what can you actually do about this? First of all, acknowledge the anger that you feel and channel it into productive avenues for your own life. So go to the gym, translate this energy into your career or education, make yourself better. Don't sit at home and be bitter. Everyone hates the bitter man who pities himself or bitter woman who pities herself. Do something about it. Get outside of your house. This is so freaking important. You need to meet fellow individuals with a similar mindset, and you can't do that at home. You might be able to connect with some of them online, but translate this for an in-person meetup. Nothing replaces human connection face to face. I truly believe when you're on the path of self-improvement, the people you meet are meant to be in your life. Because you're holding yourself to a higher standard, you can identify the snakes from the very good people out there who will raise your threshold of success and what it means to be a strong man/strong woman. You can always tell the snakes from the high quality people. I would urge you to find a local church or third space that fosters community and connection. You need other people. The nihilism you feel is very valid, but you need to replace it with meaning. Through Jesus, through God, through the Holy Spirit, whatever meaning means to you. Try to limit your time online. Your computer or gaming setup will always be there waiting for you at the end of the night. Replace the time you waste online with meeting high quality men and women. Meet fellow men and women who share your values. It will confirm that you are not crazy. If anything, society is crazy. You need to take action now, today. It can't wait any longer. Don't lose momentum that you've built. But first, you need to get outside of your house and go and meet people. I urge you, I cannot emphasize this enough. If you can strike up a conversation with a stranger, you never know where this conversation will lead you and how this may change your life. And if you can talk to a stranger, you can ask that cute girl or cute guy out, whoever it is, because if you can talk to a stranger, it's the same procedure into asking someone out. It all compounds over time. Effort is never wasted as long as you continue forward. The only way through is through. And I know you may have some self-doubt. I've been there. I've been lonely with no social support, away from the friends and family who supported you since birth. I know what it's like. I moved to Maryland in 2020, away from this entire social ecosystem that I've built my entire life. And I moved here during the 2020 pandemic. I know what it's like to not have anyone around, to not have anyone to call or hang out, to not anyone just lean on and just talk and just fill your cup full of social human interaction. But I'm standing here 5 years later with such a rich social life, an amazing wife, and I can't just keep this as a secret to myself anymore. And I have such a calling to help out fellow human beings who struggle in building meaningful relationships for a life worth living. So I urge you to ignore the media, to ignore those who call you worthless. Also, please ignore the evil dating coaches who tell you that all men or women are evil. I believe that there may be an increase in malicious individuals in both men and women, but not everyone is evil. But it is extremely difficult to say that all women and men are evil as a whole. That's insane. These fake coaches are preaching out of their ass and are not accounting for all the good people who don't want to be seen. Good people want peace and quiet. They are not being properly represented in the mainstream narrative. And most importantly, if you're struggling in starting your own journey, if you're struggling in building human connection and you want someone to hold yourself accountable, please reach out to me. Let's chat. And if you're not ready to reach out, I urge you to please subscribe to my YouTube channel for free content. I'm also creating a free PDF with 5 steps in building meaningful relationships, so please look out for that. Once again, thank you so much for watching my YouTube channel. Please subscribe to my channel for free content. And once again, let's build meaningful connections for a life worth living together. Peace out.